want to talk about Doodles. I'm doing this video mostly for my clients because when people come in with a Doodle, usually at the first visit I'm explaining what kind of maintenance this dog needs. Let's start at the beginning. So Doodles are a wide variety of breeds. We have Bernedoodles and Aussie Doodles and Sheepadoodles and Labradoodles and Golden Doodles. One thing remains constant in all of these dogs, and that is that they are bred with a poodle. So anything that's bred with a poodle is going to have a curly coat. Chances are. Now they can come out with a wavy coat. Some even have a wiry coat, but they all are a curly coated dog. Now most of them are bred with a double coated breed. So now we have a double coat, which is a highly shedding dog with a curly coat, okay? So what happens is that shedded hair, because the curls are so tight, that shedded hair doesn't actually fall out. So it stays in the coat, and that's where we start to get mats. So let's rewind and go back to a Doodle puppy. So if you're thinking about getting a Doodle puppy, or you have a Doodle puppy, a couple misconceptions. One is that they don't shed. Well, yes, they shed. All dogs shed. Doesn't matter what breed of dog, they all shed. All their hair goes through cycles just like us and every other animal in this world. They are going to lose their hair. Now, really curly dogs and Doodles, like I said, they may not shed out, but they're still losing their hair and it's staying in their coat, and those curls are preventing it from falling out and dropping out. So that a highly matable dog, if you have something with a double coat and something with a curly coat, you've got a combination there that is going to make mats. Another misconception is they're hyperallergenic. Some are, but it's very rare. Any dog that sheds, you're going to have allergies from. You might want to go with either just a regular standard poodle, miniature poodle, or any other poodle breed. But again, they're going to need high maintenance as well. Another misconception about Doodle puppies is they don't need to be groomed for a period of time. Most of the time, I'm hearing a year. Unfortunately, if you wait a year to have your Doodle puppy groomed, it's going to begin its life in a salon with a shave down, because by the time it gets here, if you're not aware on how to brush that dog and keep it mat free, by the time it gets here, there's not going to be too much that a groomer can do besides shave it down and start over. So when you get your Doodle puppy, one of the first things you want to do is form a relationship with a groomer, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with that groomer, and that dog's going to be spending a lot of time in their salon. So the earlier you can get into that salon and get that dog used to the sounds and the sights and the feel of a salon, the better it's going to do. Some of the bigger Doodles, like Bernedoodles and Sheepadoodles, the larger Doodles, when you wait a year, by the time they come into the salon and they start to overreact to a lot of the sounds because they've never heard these before, now you have a very large dog that's behaving out of fear, which isn't a lot of fun for a groomer, but it's also not a lot of fun for the dog either. So the earlier we can get them in to the salon and get them used to the maintenance that they're going to require for their entire life, the better. So let's go back to the maintenance of a Doodle. As I mentioned before, we have a curly coat. So anything that has a curly coat is going to mat, especially if it gets wet or it's swimming, even laying in a damp basement. Anywhere that it's going to get moisture, it's going to curl, and those curls are going to get tight and it's going to mat. So what I'm going to talk to you today about is 2 tools that are a definite must if you own a Doodle. One of them is called the Chris Christensen Coral Brush. This is a must if you have a Doodle. There's a lot of slicker brushes out there, and I mean, you can pick one up at your nearest PetSmart. It doesn't mean it's going to work for your Doodle. One of the things that I love about this brush is the fact that the pins are so deep. It's going to get right down to that skin and separate the hair. So when you're using this brush, you're going to be going into the coat and you're going to be dividing those curls. So we're not raking down the dog's skin. We don't want to hurt the dog. Fortunately, the coral brush is a nice soft brush, but we still don't want to rake down the skin of the dog. But this is a definite must. Yes, it is an expensive brush, but you'll never have to buy another one. This will last the life of your Doodle. And it's gonna save you a lot of heartache, and it's gonna save the dog a lot of shave downs and uncomfortableness from being dematted. Where I get my Chris Christensen brushes is a company that supplies my area in Canada, and it's called Weedy Wares, up by Toronto somewhere. So they supply all of my Chris Christensen products, which pretty much is what I use in my salon. The Chris Christensen brand are well known for their high quality products, and I agree. To find any tool or product from Chris Christensen that I don't find gives me an amazing result, you can purchase it on Amazon, which eventually it does come from Weedy Wares if you're purchasing it on Amazon, or you can purchase it from me if I have any in stock. I try to keep some in stock. So after we use the coral brush, we're gonna get through that skin, we're gonna divide all that coat, but once we're done with this brush and we've gone through the coat, this is our next great tool. It's called a Graham comb, and you can see the teeth on this side are a little bit wider than the teeth on this side. It's a nice deep comb, so again, you're gonna get down to the skin and make sure that you're dematting and the dog is mat free right at the skin. I advise it's the wider teeth that we want to go through that coat. The narrow teeth, I mean, that's extra good, but if you want your dog in a longer cut, my comb guards to get through that coat has to be at least the distance of the wider side of this comb. So honestly, this is about all you need to maintain your Doodle.